What's up, guys? It's your boys Milwaukee back out with some more of the rabbit hole into the Chris Watts case. And this one, I was thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? This is getting more and more scarier the more we look into this. And looking at the whole leave Jim alone, which the police never went into. They didn't, like, why do they interview Jim? You see all these different interviews that they did with Troy and Lauren and people that have no involvement besides knowing the deceased person, yet we're going to believe a mistress of leave Jim alone kind of thing. I looked more into this. So with that being said, grab a chair, get comfortable. Don't forget to subscribe by hitting that white bar icon down the bottom right. Hit that bell icon next to it so I do post videos like this one. You guys will get that little ring notification that Wilkie myself has posted that video. And you guys can watch, comment, like, and share. Again, thank you guys so very much for that continued love and support that you guys show on this channel every single day. And I can't thank you guys enough. Keep doing what you guys are doing, and we'll continue to keep growing. With that being said, let's get into the why leave Jim alone. And is Jim a made-up person? Is he code name? Because obviously they're stating that somehow this fire stick, the little thing that you put into your TV and you can get all these channels, is code name for the explosion theory. So the things that started bothering me the most in this so far is the phone call logs. Obviously looking at this over and over and over, you can see the calls that she made that led up to the murders that morning. Now, the 111-minute phone call that obviously has been running amok over through the online internet web has continued to make amends, or not make amends, but make mystery and what was that 111-minute phone call. Still, we do not know what was on that phone call because Chris Watts and NK have stated how many times that they don't remember what they talked about, which was the last call that she apparently made and went to sleep, or so we think. Now, in the morning of the murders, where we see Chris and possibly NK, which we can't definitively state if it is her or not, but just so happens a call from her phone in Frederick, Colorado, where the original call had been placed, had gone to a destination of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which is definitely very, very interesting why that would be the only time that's ever been pinged in Frederick, Colorado. Now, a few hours later, where we do not see Miss Nicole Kessinger, finally, when she gets ready to leave her location, which is at Anadarko, at 3:32, she calls Milwaukee, Wisconsin again. Now, why does this have a possibility of being introduced in the evidence of said case? If you take a look at this map, Milwaukee, Wisconsin is where Jim has been from, aka gone to school and become somewhat of a genealogist geologist, not genealogist, geologist like Miss Nicole Kessinger had done herself. Now, looking into Milwaukee, Wisconsin, there was a prison that is medium security. This one is not as high-tech, high-risk security area. And where did Mr. Christopher Watts go? This man was transferred from Colorado to Waupun, Wisconsin for a maximum security prison. Now, why would Mr. Watts, of all places in the world of maximum security prisons, would he go to Waupun, Wisconsin, aka where it is an hour and 10 minutes to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where Nicole had stated she is going to go to Jim's for a while and lay low? Was she talking about in Colorado? Was she talking about in Milwaukee, Wisconsin? I know. Later on, Chris did get sent here. He didn't get sent here until after he'd been in Colorado for quite a while. But it's just so funny reading into different aspects of this case Then a closer look at the other man in Nicole's life, that apparently they might have had a three-way, which we don't care, that Jim was involved in some shape or form, or Jim was a code name. Now, highlighted in Nicole Kessinger's Verizon blogs, you can usually see the entry times, and one phone call had gone to a Milwaukee at 6:16 in the morning, which we just saw. Roughly when Chris Watts was arriving at Survey 319, where 3 dead bodies and an unborn child were found at this location. Although Jim Gutowski is not named one time in the 1960 pages of discovery in Kessinger's friend, but Nicole Kessinger's friend Charlotte Nelson is, which is very shocking in itself. You name one friend, but what about Jim? What is Jim? Why is Jim? Who is Jim? We're getting to the point where, when is Jim? Gutowski and Nelson are mutual friends on Facebook. And like Kessinger, Gutowski has been educated in geology. Apparently his name was Gut, or Gudo, has been a main squeeze in Nicole Kessinger's life. She has given him a key, and she gave Chris a key. So-called. Jim Gutowski had a profile on LinkedIn that was associated with a company of Sunburst Consulting, but however has been completely removed. Kessinger refers to her little buddy at 152 seconds in this interrogation, and off and on describes how she knows Jim, but begs and states and demands the investigators not to involve him or ask him any questions for the next 5 minutes of that conversation in there. And police just were like, yeah, no problem. We won't ask. What? Are you kidding? But they'll talk to Troy. They'll talk to Lauren. People that were friends and co-workers of the man. But this man that is apparently with this mistress that is included, possibly. Wow. Definitely very interesting. Now, with that being said, I'd like to look into a couple YouTube channels that don't only think the same thing, but have videos for us to watch and react to as well to support this hypothesis. Or hypothesis. There we go. So, let's take a look. First up to bat to help us is going to be Michelle After Dark. A lovely channel. I definitely enjoy it. Links will be down in the description for her channel. Go over there, watch, subscribe, like. You guys get the gist. And let's play what she has on us, titled Who is Leave Jim Alone?
Members video to answer a viewer's question, and today the question is, I'm keen to learn more about the character known as Leave Jim Alone. Leave Jim Alone. The reason why this is used by creators, I find it hilarious. I first heard it on CDT's channel, I think, but I think a number of creators use it, Leave Jim Alone. Is because that's what NK said in one of her interviews, where Kevin Kovacs said, you know, who's Jim?
It was a burner phone?
Is he a friend?
Okay, it was
Can we
wrong.
talk to him? And she went, leave Jim alone! Leave Jim alone! He's got nothing to do with this. Leave Jim alone. And there's been speculation on who Jim is and whether he had a role in the murders. I can't see how he would have done or what his motive would have been, honestly.
NK.
But to answer the question, who is Jim? You've got to go to, you know, the great font of knowledge. My cat's meowing now. The great font of knowledge, Reddit. Jim's real name is James Gutowski. He lives in Denver. He's there in public records. I'm not going to put his address on screen, but you just look up Jim Gutowski, and he's there. What's confusing, though, as is stated in this Reddit post, is that when he appears on NK's phone bill, he has a Wisconsin, Milwaukee. It comes up as coming from there. And that's confusing. It isn't. That's just where the phone was registered. Like Chris Watts always comes up as a North Carolina address on the phone bill. Apparently he went to college there. For me, the only interesting thing about Jim, well, the two interesting thing about Jim is why NK was adamant that the police shouldn't talk to him. You know, leave Jim alone, he knows nothing about this.
Was mean about it.
I kind of wondered whether NK and Jim were in a relationship, and NK didn't tell Jim about Chris.
Or they did.
Just the amount of calls to Jim throughout July was crazy. And he's got a key to her apartment.
So did
For
Chris.
me, why would you give someone a key to your apartment unless you're in a relationship with them? So I've wondered that. I've also wondered whether Chris and Jim were in some kind of, three-way tryst.
They talked about it.
And that would just be embarrassing for that to come out. But I don't think he was involved in the murders.
I can't say that he's
The other
involved.
interesting thing, of course, though, is the ping from Frederick on the 13th at 6:16 a.m. She rang Jim from Frederick. Just intriguing. But there's not really very much to tell about Jim, other than that's who he is. He's a geologist. Yeah, apparently NK's dad has known him for years. Anyway, there you go. That's who Jim is.
Interesting. What are your thoughts on that? What she had posted there. Another one we're going to watch is CDT, another YouTube channel. I have collabed with her before. I'm hoping to have another one with Amber and CDT herself. So make sure you guys go over to her channel, give her some love. Definitely she needs the love and support that all crime investigators, junior detectives, as you will, need on her channel. So go watch her channel, subscribe, comment, like, and share. And let's get into what she has put. This man.
Hey guys. Say hi, Cece. Say hi, Bells.
So
Hi, Bells.
No, you gotta say hi.
Hi.
What do Chris and NK say about leave Jim alone?
July 28th through the 29th, we went to the sand dunes. We went to the Great Sand Dunes National Park.
Down in Alamosa?
Yes.
July 28th, 29th. Did you guys stay anywhere?
What did you say? I'm sorry.
Where did you stay?
Oh, we camped.
Okay.
We camped. I don't remember the name of the campsite, but if you, just let me go through probably, my old phone nav or, go through just the internet and try to look up campsites, I can probably come up with the name for you.
Well, let me ask you this. There was some attachments that when I was looking at some of your phone stuff today, although very limited, there's a man with a backpack. He's got a beard. He does not look like Chris to me in your photos. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, is he a little heavier set?
Yeah, I'd say he's a little bit bigger.
Yes, that is my friend Jim. That is the one that I was with on the Monday and Tuesday of last week.
Okay.
What about our male friend? Where does he stand with her? What's his name?
Jim?
Jim. Thank you.
He worked in the oil field, North Dakota, I believe. And I guess he's been a friend of hers for a long time. And it's kind of like a shoulder to cry on. Is always somebody that's always been around for her. And I guess he's had a couple girlfriends, and I guess he's hadn't had much luck, I guess, in that department as far as keeping his girlfriends, and just
Tell you, man.
him and Nikki have always been good friends.
Just platonic friends?
That's
as far as you know.
As much as I knew.
Yeah.
She had told me, this is the last time you'll probably hear from me. I'm going to stay at my friend Jim's place while this is all going on. She said not to contact her until this is done. She told me to delete everything. And I didn't delete everything.
After hearing Chris speak about NK's friend Leave Jim Alone, I have some questions. One, NK maintained that Leave Jim Alone had no clue about Chris or any of the situation. But Chris is saying that NK told him she was going to stay with Leave Jim Alone and not to contact her until this was done. So my question is, if NK was truly going to stay with Leave Jim Alone, wouldn't Leave Jim Alone say, hey, NK, why are you staying with me? Why do you need a place to stay? And it would have, brought the conversation into why NK needed to stay with him. So that bothers me. It makes me wonder, did NK really say that to Chris? Or what I think is more likely is NK lying about the amount of knowledge Leave Jim Alone had about this situation. Second, leading back into where Leave Jim Alone might live. A lot of people are under the impression that Leave Jim Alone lives out of town and does not have a residence in Colorado. Well, if you believe that, then can you believe when Chris says NK said she was going to stay with him? Wouldn't that mean if he did not have a residence in Colorado, she would have had to leave Colorado to stay with Leave Jim Alone, and then therefore she would not have been in Colorado after the murders? And we know she was in Colorado after the murders because she was, going to and from police interviews. Again, I just find Leave Jim Alone very questionable in all this. I've heard he was interviewed, but it wasn't released. I don't know what the truth of that is. I would like to know more about his alibi, NK's alibi, where they were the morning of August 13th, 2018.
Jim's information?
No, I would really not like to involve him in this. He does not know about this. He doesn't know any of this is occurring.
Okay.
I was literally
he knows, certainly through the media, that something's occurred.
Yeah, he's out of town. He's probably has no idea. He doesn't know who Chris is. He's not, I do not know.
So he's just a friend of yours.
Yes. He does not need to be
coming to your apartment and doesn't know anything about Chris. Does he know anything about Chris?
That was a mess up right there.
Absolutely not.
We've known Jim for
He's gonna go out of town, but
you're not dating him or anything like that.
No, he's one of my
go
very
stay
good
with
friends.
him?
My dad knows him. He's a great guy. He works out of state a lot, so when he's in town, we hang out. But when he's in town and he's off of work, to save time, so I give him the key to my house. One, because I trust him and he's one of my best friends, and two, because sometimes he will just meet me there. Because I'll be like, hey, I'm getting off of work, and then if I get stuck in traffic or something, he ends up sitting outside of my apartment waiting for me to get off of work. So I'm like, here's a key, and my dog loves him and stuff. So no, he's not involved with it. Yes, I don't even.
I don't want to cause you concern. We want to know where you were that day too. You're dating a man who did some egregious stuff, and we want to show that you were never near him that day. Period.
I mean, you guys can track my stuff.
No, yeah, I mean, that was something we will have to get a warrant for anyways.
What if Jim took
I'm just saying,
Nicole's phone
if we asked for it, would you have objections to that?
No, you can have it.
So,
I'm a pretty boring person.
Well,
I don't
it sounds like you just went to work that day, and then you came home, and you were there at 3:45.
Yeah, give or take 5 minutes, but yeah, so 3:45.
They just took her word on it.
I meet Jim there. Yeah, I would totally.
So Jim is understand from an investigative point, he could be a person who could say, yeah, I was there at 3:45. He doesn't know Chris. He doesn't know anything. He could say with one phone call, yeah, she came in at 3:45. Done.
Totally.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I don't have to ask anything more than, hi, Chris, my name's Kevin. Or Jim. And I'm not saying you have to give it to you.
Just leave Jim alone. Jim does not need to be wrapped up in this.
If at some point I needed Jim's info to, let's say we couldn't find your phone records, would you tell me who Jim was?
You can have them. I will give them to you.
Would you tell me who Jim was
if you had to? Okay. I don't really want to involve him in this. That is not fair to him. That's not, no, if I do not have to do that.
That's fine.
Yeah, so anyways, Chris was like, call me.
Let me know what you guys make of all this in the comments. I guess the main point that bothers me is how Chris stated NK told him she was going to stay with Leave Jim Alone, which in my opinion, if that was true, Leave Jim Alone would have absolutely known about the situation with Chris Watts. I do believe that Leave Jim Alone should have definitely been interviewed.
Yes.
Again, we've talked about this in many lives. When you look at the call pattern between Leave Jim Alone and Chris on NK's phone bills. It's like she would call Chris, call Leave Jim Alone, call Chris, call Leave Jim Alone. So what were they talking about? Again, you know, a lot of people say this case is closed, it's over, it's done, but I can't let it go because I still have so many questions.
I do too.
And some of the main ones do deal with Leave Jim Alone and the relationship between him, NK, and Chris. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Do you believe that Chris and Leave Jim Alone met? Do you believe that Leave Jim...
So with that being said, please comment down what you know, because there's not much information about Jim. Like, is Jim real? Is Jim just played out as like a little, like a lot of his stuff is gone. When I checked it a year ago, you can't find much of Jim anywhere anymore. You could before, now you can't. Which is kind of really interesting. Can't find anything about NK. No socials, no work, no nothing. But I've seen some things that her friends have given up. It's just very interesting about this Jim. Who is Jim? Why is Jim? When is Jim? I'd love to hear you guys' your partakes, your opinions, your words of, I wouldn't say wisdom, but of theories. I definitely would surely appreciate them down in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe on my channel and the two that we have used in here to take a look at as well, Michelle After Dark and CDT. And we will see you guys in the next video. So please take care, be safe, and as always, keep nerding on, and we'll see you guys next time.